not in where you are.
Mass is very important, I think, because yes, 80% cover our health for if we direct contact with other people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Also considering that the new variant Omicron, yeah, has spread over many countries. Yeah. But
Yes.
hopefully it is not dangerous. Yeah. According to WHO, this is not as dangerous as the Delta variant before. So we hope that the situation will get better and better. Then we can.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
quite it's kind of like interesting how like every few weeks, every few months, you have a new virus, and everyone is just so surprised and shocking. It has changed everyone's life so dramatically.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, lots of
How is the
people.
situation over there in Jakarta?
Yeah, lots of people take up new habit like cycling, which is positive. Including me, yeah,
Are you
I
still
also.
singing?
Yeah, still singing for entertainment in my Facebook.
No, but you have a
But
good voice.
oh, thank you very much. Yeah, but that's just a hobby. Yeah, but hopefully one day a producer is interested to take me to the higher level.
Yeah, someone should share your voice, a song recording to them, a demo.
Yeah, hopefully, inshallah. Yeah. Okay, I guess Fahira, it's already 3 o'clock here in
Mm.
Jakarta and in Bangkok as well. Yeah, the same time zone, I guess. So, and it's
Yes.
already recorded. Yeah. Uh, Fahira, the host, could you please start? Yeah, Bismillah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope all of you are in good health today. And since this lecture is open to the public, firstly, I'd like to welcome not only my fellow classmates, but also everyone present in this Zoom meeting right now. Thank you for coming to today's lecture session about successful business presentation and public speaking skills. I hope this lecture session will be beneficial for us all and improve our presentation and public speaking skills. Secondly, let me introduce myself. My name is Fahira Dinana. I am an English student of class 2020 in STB Alia Jakarta, and I will be your host for today's guest lecture session. Now, in this lecture session, we have the pleasure of having two lecturers with us today, and we will also have an opening remark from our very own director of STB Alia Jakarta, Dr. Siti Widar Harunasari, MPD. Now, before we start the lecture, I think it's appropriate for us to get to know our lecturers first. So let me introduce to you our first lecturer. I think a lot of the students who are present today is familiar with him. He is a full-time lecturer in STBL Jakarta, and one of the subjects that he teaches is presentation skills. I myself am one of his students. Let's all greet our first lecturer, Bung Iwan Sulistiawan.
Hi,
Hello, Iwan.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yeah,
Waalaikumsalam.
I hope you have a great time, all of you. Thank you.
All right. Now, let's get to know our second lecturer. She is our guest lecturer who is joining us today from Bangkok, Thailand. Our guest lecturer is, of course, an educator. She is currently teaching at Bangkok School of Management and also at London Institute of Technology. Aside from that, she is also a writer. Our guest lecturer is the co-leader of the Bangkok Women's Writing Group and the Asia Pacific Writers and Translators Association. Furthermore, she is also a qualified and certified Reiki master. focusing on well-being and mindfulness. Wow. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to our guest lecturer, Ms. Bhavna Khemlani.
Sawadika,
Sawadee
namaste, and hello from Bangkok. So lovely to, be here and have a chat with all of you. And it's an honor and privilege to be part of, your classroom today. So this is going to be interesting to share knowledge and experience with all of you. And thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being with us today. All right. Before we hear from our two lecturers, let's hear an opening remark from the director of STBLIA Jakarta, Dr. Siti Widar Harunasari MPD. The time and place is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. It's been an honor to welcome everyone in today's online guest lecture session held by Sekolah Tinggi Bahasa Asing LIA Jakarta. We will be learning how to do a successful business presentation and get some public speaking tips from the speakers. I really appreciate the availability of our international guest lecturer, Ms. Bhavna Khemlani, to give the students opportunity to learn in an international setting and to facilitate them with a critical skill that people need nowadays, that is presenting information effectively. Some students may feel presentation is easy, but many find it much more challenging. However, it is possible to improve presentation skills with a bit of work, and this session is designed to help you. When presenting online, like the one we're doing right now, we cannot always see the audience, more so with large audiences. We may not have the opportunity to switch our presentation methods in response to how the audience reacts. Furthermore, there is not a stage to walk around on or eyes to look into. And so everyone, with all these things missing when presenting online, we need to develop a strategy that will enable us to smooth our virtual public speech. Fortunately, we have Ms. Bhavna Khemlani here with us today. Through this session, you will be given a platform to improve your presentation skills and confidence. I assure you that this session will be fruitful for everyone present here. I wish this program all the success and hope that this class can create a pool of young people who will confidently present and express themselves fluently. And before I end this brief address, I would like to once again thank Bapak Iwan Sulistiawan M.Si for bringing us together. And Ms. Bhavna, thank you very much indeed. To close, I will challenge everyone attending this session to look for the opportunity to present themselves as public speakers and put into practice what they have learned today. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Dr. Siti Widar Harunasari MPD for her opening remark. All right, everyone, as we get ready to hear from our lecturers, I'd like to first inform you that we will have a Q&A session at the end of the lecture. So during the lecture, if you have any questions regarding the topic that is given, you are free to ask two of our lecturers at the end of the lecture. We can discuss it together. So you can write your questions at the chat box, and then we can discuss it later at the Q&A session. Now then, without further ado, let's hear from our first lecturer, Bung Iwan. The time and place is yours.
Thank you, Fahira. Good afternoon, and thank you for everyone who can come to this meeting, and especially to our guest lecturer, Ms. Bhavna Khemlani, far away from Bangkok, Thailand. Yeah. I forgot to say to to you, Miss Bhavna, that if Dr. Siti Leader couldn't come to the meeting, so she sent her video, yeah, but she sent her best regards to you, yeah, and thank you for your being able to be our guest lecturer today, yeah. These are my students, yeah, although there are also people who register through the link, yeah, but most of them are my students from two classes, namely the morning class and the evening class, yeah, and the subject that I teach them is presentation skills. So I have already given them the basic skills of presenting materials, including the stages of or the structure of presentations, and then how they optimize their body language, especially the hand gestures, the eye contact, the movement. Although in this pandemic situation, we have a lot of limitations. Yeah, we cannot practice delivering our presentation while standing, and then we cannot move from one place to another due to the limitation. Yeah, we've got to sit and stare at our laptop or cell phone screen. We cannot also optimize our eye contact because we can only see directly through to the screen. Yeah, we can't, we can't shift to the right, to the left, then back to the middle again. But then, yes, this is what we have to encounter. Yeah, we are now under the what do you call that? A disaster. Yeah, a test. Yeah, a test from God. Yeah, but I really hope that we can survive. Yeah, we have already got that those scary months, yeah, especially last July, yeah, where we lost some of our friends, some of our relatives, yeah. And then, yeah, back to the material that I have been giving the students, yeah, those are the basic skills of English presentation. Uh, I noticed that many of the graduates, many of the alumni of Sekolah Tinggi Bahasa Asing LIA, the LIA Institute of Foreign Languages, some of them do work in language and literature sectors, yeah. Some of them work as teachers, yeah, English teachers, Japanese teachers, yeah, for those who take the Japanese major. Some of them do work as translators, yeah. Some of them work in the media as reporters, yeah. Those are the jobs which are still related to the language. But then I also noticed that some of them, probably the bigger portion of our alumni, they don't work in language and literature sector. Yeah. And many of them are in the business field. Yeah. So I really think that I need to enrich them, to broaden their outlook. Yeah. To make them not only know how to present something in the English language, but they should also know what kind of challenges they will encounter when they are entering the business world. Yeah? And of course, one of the things that they should do is presenting materials, whether they try to offer their products, their services, yeah, in any business context. Yeah. And I suddenly remembered my friend, yeah, the multi-talented Miss Bhavna Khemlani. She's not only a prominent fiction writer in Thailand, but she's also a Reiki master, yeah. And also, I remember that she is a lecturer of a business institute in Bangkok. Yeah, what's the name, Fahira? Bangkok Institute of Management. Yeah?
Bangkok School of Management.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bangkok School of
Yeah,
Management.
Bangkok School of Management,
Mm,
Bangkok University. Yeah.
okay. So here we are now. Yeah, Alhamdulillah. We are very grateful. We are very happy that we have Miss Bhavna Khemlani with us today. Yeah. I really hope that all students and also the guests, yeah, who register through the links can get a lot of knowledge, a lot of skills that will be shared by Miss Bhavna Khemlani. Yeah, I guess I will not give any further explanation on the material because the main or our star today is Miss Khemlani. Yeah, over to you, Fahira. Thank you.
All right then, everyone, let's hear from our guest lecturer about business presentation and public speaking tips. Miss Bhavna Khemlani, the time and place.
Fahira, could you please read the overview of the curriculum vitae of Miss Bhavna?
Oh, I already did.
Oh, you already? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I thought that it's a certain section. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Hello from Bangkok and all the way to Jakarta. Thank you so much for having me here. And it's an honor and privilege to actually share and talk to so many students across cultures. What I'm going to do is I made some editing for the presentation so I can actually share my screen. Are you okay with that? You okay with that?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And what
Yes.
and what I will do is after the presentation, I will share the updated version. Okay, because this is what presentation happens that while you are thinking and making resources, suddenly you feel illuminated with new stuff, and then you're like, oh, I want to share this, I want to share that. Okay, so can you see my screen,
Yes.
everyone? Yes. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I have been teaching for almost 18 years, and in my classroom, I have diverse students all the time. And when it comes to presentation, when it comes to the word successful, it could be a bit difficult sometimes when we say the word successful, because everyone has different personalities. How to bring that personality online, which is what we are doing nowadays. But how about bringing that personality in the classroom? In the future, you will know more that as you are going to be entrepreneurs or you're going to be working with different companies based on your passion and whatever you like, your public speaking skills will start improving. However, one of the most important part of public speaking is that how students actually feel very scared and nervous, because we want to say successful, we want to say hand gestures, how to look, how to that. But the thing is, we have our voice is so important in public speaking, because during public speaking, we need to make sure that what we are conveying are messages that is going to be passed to the audience needs to be understood. And while today we have more of a hybrid event and a hybrid atmosphere, you have virtual and you have online and offline, sometimes it can be difficult to convey that message, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. Okay, so I'm sure you know of Tony Robbins. Have you heard of Tony Robbins before? He's very popular and he's always telling people to get out there and come out of their fears and all that kind of stuff. So he says that sometimes people are scared of public speaking because they're just thinking about themselves. Now, I don't know how true you feel with this quote. I feel that when we are having public speaking skills, we need to think of both. We need to think about ourselves and we need to think about the audience, not only about ourselves. Okay. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. At the end, I will answer as many questions as you want, and I will also send you material. I do have like some public speaking notebook and ebooks and stuff. I will share it with, teacher Iwan, and as well as you can always write to me. That's my website. So it doesn't matter if you want to keep in touch. I'm more than welcome to always do so. Okay. And it's a privilege to be here. I would like to say thank you again to to the doctor, and to sending her regards and having me here as well. And even in Thai we say achan for the teachers and for doctors. So achan, and achan Iwan as well, to making to this is called the beauty about online learning is bridging the gaps. So we don't necessarily have to be in the classroom, but we can do virtual. And in virtual classrooms, we can actually share our experiences and knowledge across the internet. So that's the beauty. Now, I would say first, if I would like to start, that when it comes to presentation, as much as our life is concerned, we see the iceberg illusion, right? Everything looks so beautiful, uh, you know, in the external phase. Everything looks so wow. But what about underneath? There's so much that goes on to bring out that presentation. So when you are presenting in class, how do you feel? You're learning all these skills. You have debate topics. You are presenting your ideas. You got to be systematic. You got to have visuals. You cannot be boring. The sound of yours and the pitch, even what you're presenting, you need to be synchronized and aligned with the topic. Okay. So we need to understand that behind every success is a very deep information that goes with different layers. Okay. So you have your dedication on what you believe and what you want to convey. You do have your hard work. You do have your topic. Okay. And of course, your habits. Sometimes you may feel whatever you are doing is just not good enough. Okay. And we have this self talk within that, oh, I could do better. Oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that. So we need to tell our shadow self, shush, we can do this. Okay. Now, for a good online presentation, as you are already aware, that all the students right now, we have to have good internet. Okay. And one of the major drawbacks sometimes of presentation online is internet, microphone, camera, because you do have all of that. And maybe today, one of the glitch for me is the background. As much as I wanted to have this beautiful background created by you, I was unable to do so. So how can we improvise? What can I do? I found this logo from Zoom, and it just says number one. Number one seemed the most feasible, logo to put right now. So I put that, and I put this number one here is that we are all number one leaders for our journey, and sometimes we need to take that power in presentation, especially to understand more than the power of presenting. It is our leadership skills, how we can empower ourselves. So for good online presentations, always remember connection, microphone, camera, lighting, background, and of course, distractions. As much as we don't want distractions, if we're working from home, we are going to have distractions. We're going to have some kind of sound. Um, in the past 2 years of teaching online with diverse time zones, I have different kind of distractions, especially with noise. Okay, so if it happens with you, it is completely okay, as long as what you are sharing and how you get back into the goal of the presentation, that is very important. Okay, and you're not all over the place. So many people have pets. If you're living in a condo, sometimes you will have construction, renovation, sounds, and you really cannot control everyone. So how do we just ignore that and just make sure that we're just going to move forward? Okay. Now, the do's and don'ts of presentation. Think about the do's. Okay. You put your slide, it can be edited. You put your text, you want the audience attention. You also want to accept your audience from diverse cultures. You need to put the language that everyone understands. The thing with presentation sometimes is when you are conveying your idea, sometimes you might understand it more compared to your audience. So you have to never forget that. Your audience also is part of your listening aspects. and you are sharing, you're presenting. What is the meaning of presentation? You're presenting something. So when you're presenting someone or so many people online or offline, you need to keep them in your picture. You need to keep them in your mind that, hey, I want to say this to this person. Think about it talking to your friend. When you are talking to your friend about your day, how do you share with your friend? You make it so easy and comfortable, and you think that, okay, I am going to share my best day or my worst day, or I have got this opportunity with work, I have this brilliant idea, and you're sharing it with your friend. Yeah. With your friend, you're able to convey in the way your friend would understand. So, similarly, when you are having a chat or conveying formally, informally, semi formally to through presentation, you need to understand that use simple language. Also understand that who you're going to be talking to today. Sometimes, based on your audience, the level of knowledge or the level of information on what you can share is going to be diverse and different. So don't put everything in one slide and make it too wordy, which I'm sure you are aware of that. Sometimes we want to share everything in one slide, but how if, like now for example, this slide, I put this like this on purpose. Okay, so if I want to share something like this, how am I supposed to just put all the information in one slide? How about putting it in a different color? How about bolding something that is important? Now there's so much that I can talk about audience preparation and practice. Yes, we need to practice if we're going to have a presentation. I did not practice. Um, I guess it's because of experience, practice over the years. And from experience, I can also say to you that in classroom, when I'm presenting, especially we use a lot of PowerPoints. There has been days that we are presenting and suddenly something is going to go wrong with the projector. And boom, there's no presentation. So everyone in the class is so happy, so excited. Oh my God, we're not going to have class anymore. Okay, we're going to have a break. I'm like, dude, you have me. So I'm going to talk and you're going to listen now. So that's what you have to do, right? You have to improvise. Now, during that time, when I'm doing public speaking or presenting, I am not just standing in front of the class with my microphone or without the microphone and just going on talking. I will walk around the room. I will talk to my students. I will tell them, we will have a chat. It will have we will have exchange of information so that nobody is left behind and everyone understands everything. During presentation, a lot of people love using the phone. You see, students love using the phone because they think that being on the phone all the time is something so cool, something so understanding and so nice that when someone is speaking, they're not acknowledging that. Think about it when you are going to be presenting. How is your audience going to react to you just the way you react to them? Okay, I must say that sometimes some presentations can be very boring. I'm not saying everything can be perfect all the time. That's why catching everyone's attention is actually a very challenging task. Okay, and during that time when people are on the phones, you can always think of how I can actually get that person's attention. Today, when everything is online, you will have so many students and so many people worldwide. They want to actually go back to face. And they kind of realize right now that being so much on the phone was actually not the best thing they did. Okay. How many of you actually like online? How many of you actually just want to be there on the screen all day, all night? It's not easy. Okay. As a student, it's not easy. And person working is also not easy. And when it comes to business presentation, while we are speaking, to have the clarity of our words really matter. When we are speaking, how clear we enunciate, our pronunciation, and what I want to say to you is so important. So we have a lot of people who want to convey their messages, so they need to be sure of what they're going to be presenting. So it goes beyond just containing elements, right? We need to make sure that what we are presenting has proper storytelling. Okay. So far, you guys understand? Okay, so what I have done here is I haven't actually put it as a slideshow. So you're going to see all the PowerPoint. I'm afraid that if I put it on slideshow, it might affect the audio because of the animation. Okay, which I will be doing it. Eventually I'll show it to you because I was so happy to share all these kind of presentation skills, which I'm sure you guys already know. Now, in the real world of business, think about it. You have virtual business, you have entrepreneur, you have e-commerce, you have corporations, you have the sole proprietorship, you have partnership. These are just examples of businesses. Think about where are you going to be going? Think about where are you going to be in the future? Think about when you are speaking, or maybe one day you're part of a corporation, you want to work with Google, you want to work with Facebook, you want to work with Grab, Lazada, Shopee, anything. What if you start your own company? What if you're in partner with someone? How are you going to pitch your idea? So presentation is very important. As much as we want to understand that presentation, only one solid, okay, I'll have a few slides and I have to present. No, that's not how it goes. You have to convey your idea. You have to pitch your idea. You have to make sure that each slide is understandable. Okay, so your words really matter. Now think about it. When you are going to have your slide, if you notice that each part here says the same thing. Do you see that? The slide is an editable slide with your needs. Okay, so this is an example of a sample process on your presentation. However, like when I shared my presentation with you, I made sure that I sent it to you in such a way that if you want to edit it, you're able to do so. Okay, and sometimes you can even present you can do your presentation converting it into PDF file. That is also fine. Okay. So far, everything okay? Okay. All right. Now, when we have a presentation, we can use all kinds of slides for presenting our work. So we need to get creative. Now, business presentation is not bland. We need to add some flavor, okay? But at the same time, you need to keep the professionalism going on. You need to make it more, it can be casual depending on where you're presenting this. Are you going to be in classroom? Are you going to be presenting it to your workmate? If it's too flashy, then it's also not advisable to do that. But have you guys heard of Canva? Canva is so good, right? It's a lifesaver. It's for everybody. Teachers can use it. People at work can use it. Students can use it. You can usually when we have the marketing or the advertising class, when you create or for consumer behavior, we can use infographics. When you are worried about how to present your work, you can actually create infographics. Infographics actually help in putting information precisely, and then you can present it. You can feel free to present it as the way you feel like. So here you have various examples, but the most common is Canva, Google Slides. You have Prezi. A lot of people like to put their work on Prezi. Okay, and have you guys heard of all of this already? Okay, I will share. You can actually, I will be sharing this. This is the updated version, so you can actually get into it. I will share websites with you guys where you can actually download free templates. It's quite interesting. Okay, now I will be going deeper about public speaking later. And like Achan Iwan, he said that, when you are doing public speaking or when you are presenting online, we don't really expect the students to stand like this for such a long time because your posture will start you'll start getting sloppy because you get tired, so let's say when I'm presenting, for example, so this is my home. I have to make it presentable. The lightings have to be right, the voice has to be right to have a suitable background. You can see that I have gratitude and good news behind me, so it just reminds whoever is looking at it will not feel so bored. Sometimes you have really boring backgrounds, or you have a very boring lighting system that can make it very sleepy. Okay. Now I'm sitting on a chair, a comfortable one, and making sure that I have the right angle, the right place, the posture or the placement of my laptop as well. Okay. So I'm not just, peeping or looking at it. So all that really matters. Now, if you feel comfortable standing, depending on what kind of presentation you are making, if you're having your own Instagram presentation, you're using a Facebook, or you're doing some kind of ad, you want to add some, casual face-to-face contact, you may stand because you know that it's just going to be for a few minutes. But if you have to speak for more than 10 minutes, I do not suggest you stand. And being so accurate with the 45 angles is actually not a very good idea, because I wouldn't be actually looking at the screen like this for completely 50 minutes, right? Or 40 minutes. So it's okay to look around. It's okay to feel comfortable in your own skin. But what really promotes and what is really important for public speaking and presentation is confidence and voice. Okay. Your voice is going to be conveying your ideas and the goal of the topic and your confidence. You don't have to be so overconfident, neither you have to be you're less with self-esteem. If something is bothering you and you feel like you're not being able to convey, talk to someone. Practice. Why are you feeling conscious? What is making you feeling conscious? So that is really important. Try to find a way that maybe your voice, or maybe if you have a note card, unless you are reciting poetry, and that is the whole purpose of it, unless you have to talk about something and you cannot, you need note cards, go for it. Go for the note cards. I suggest you one of the most important way of presenting and improvement is joining a Toastmaster. You guys know what is a Toastmaster?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have Toastmaster in Jakarta? I'm sure they have.
Yes, they have.
They have for students as well. So I suggest you guys join that. It's pretty cool actually. It's pretty interesting. You go there, you have different topics that you can talk about. Okay. And of course, spelling. One of the thing with presentation is that we have to see whether we're using British or US vocabulary. Okay. Now here, the spelling is absolutely correct. I'm doing all this live so that you can see. This is all done on purpose. Okay. So that you know that sometimes these things happen. So you can use S or you can use Z. It's not a problem. If you so these small glitches are not actually a big problem, because you at the end of the day just go through your presentation and see that what are you there for, what is your job, what is your purpose, why are you going there, and know your audience, how to speak to them. Have you ever heard someone presenting and they're so loud that you feel like they're screaming, and at that time you just want to close your ears and you're just looking at everybody like, when is this person going to stop talking? We all have been there, right? We've all felt that, oh, we cannot do this. How much are we going to listen to this person? Or sometimes somebody talks so much that they actually forget the audience and they only talk about themselves. Okay. So we always need to give a reason for people to care. For example, for now, when I developed this presentation, all of you were in my mind. All of you were at my heart. For me to understand that, okay, I'm going to be having a chat or sharing to so many students, and how am I supposed to make you feel that at the end of the day, you and I are the same. And when we are presenting our work, we also have to put that much effort and understand that how we can actually make our work better. And posture is very important. Sometimes if you're online, there are people who are just going to be like this, they want to be like that. It depends who you're talking to, right? If you're presenting in class. But if you are I would suggest you not to do things like that if you are going to be in a working environment. Imagine you are the boss of your company, you are the leader, you are having this dialect, you're delegating people, so you can't be sloppy. Okay, but yes, do you have the right to be tired? Do you have the right to take a break and pause? Go for it, you can do that. Okay, so when we say give people reason to care, we need to understand that sometimes when we are speaking, we are giving a lot of information with different topic. We should study our topic, we should understand our topic, because these are social skills. Okay, now what happens is sometimes someone goes up there to talk but has no understanding of what that person is going to talk about, and you start creating the topic in such a way. Some people are good at it, some people need to research a little bit. And always, if you are going to be presenting facts, please make sure that you are presenting facts that are actually real. Do not make up things. Okay, and think about your visuals. Your visuals are not there to hypnotize people. Okay, or your visuals are the sensory is a sensory platform that can actually connect you and I together. Okay, that's why today Skype, Zoom, Google Slides, Google Meets, and so on. Actually, or Cisco WebEx. I don't know if you are using WebEx in Jakarta. Are you using WebEx in Jakarta? Have you heard of WebEx? What are you using for class, Iwan?
We use Google Classroom.
Oh, use good. Okay.
Google Meet. We are using Google Meet and
Okay.
sometimes Zoom as well. But
Okay.
WebEx is, I heard that WebEx is widely used in high schools, yeah,
Yeah.
junior
So
high school.
for our university that we're also using, and when we have corporate training, I've had a couple of corporate training in these 2 years. Even when I had to present my work for Red Cross company, the ICRC for Nepal, everything has to be done online, right? So we have to make sure that what we're presenting and what I'm talking about needs to make sense when it comes to ethics, when it comes to leadership. So that's important. Visuals really, really help. Visuals will catch your attention, because always forget, sensory details are the best way to create that flow. Okay, if you have too many pictures or too many words, everybody just zooms off. Everybody just gets disconnected. This is normal. Think about yourself when your parents are talking to you, and your parents tell you, "Can you please clean your room? Can you please not do this? Can you please come home early?" When your parents going on lecturing you, how's your reaction? Do you listen? Do you sit there? Do you actually sit there or stand there listening to everything and remember each and every word? There's a part of you that says, "Okay, mom, okay, dad, I know, I understand." And you kind of like get disconnected, right? As human beings, we need to catch someone's attention, even through presentation, even through work. We need to understand that how our words are going to matter. Color really matters. Okay, we need to have compelling images and make sure that we're not using very boring text. We're using legible text. Okay, so think about your presentation. Make it simple. Okay, right amount of text in and the font size on a slide, and consistent branding through logo or color. You have smart use of graphics and display facts. You're making sure that when you're presenting, you have clear communication and use of subtle animation if required. Do you guys like animation? You like animation? Okay.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do now is, let's try this first. Okay. So when we have tips for business presentation, we are conveying ideas, right? As you can see over here, the tips, this is like an infographic. So it clearly mentions what you need and what you don't. Now think about why a lot of people and a lot of schools are teaching the children, and teaching a lot of high school students and even universities how to create a TED Talk platform. Okay, you're not on TED Talk, but you're making sure that you're making things quite precise. You know your audience, you're telling them a story. Always remember that even if you're talking business, tell your story, make it as a business. Okay, where did your idea come from? What was your passion? People want to know that. People know they're going to buy your product. That's why today in marketing and advertising, you have so much of storytelling. A lot of brands have actually recreated and revamped and gone back to understanding how are they supposed to make reach out their products. If you look at Netflix, if you look at Ben and Jerry's, if you look at Haagen-Dazs, if you look at so many brands, even fashion, you know that you have to buy a t-shirt, or you know you have to buy ice cream. But then how are you presenting your ice cream? They're actually telling you a story, and you are actually buying a story. You find it so compelling and so tasty that you're like, I'm going to buy that ice cream. Okay, so think about presentation. You don't want to have too much of clutter. And when you're going to work in the future, which is very obvious, you guys are the future entrepreneurs and, you know, leaders anyway. So you need to understand, how are you supposed to keep this going? How are you supposed to start? How are you supposed to make sure that whatever you're going to be saying to people matters? Okay, now think of these three rules whenever you want to do presentation. This should help. Give a compelling structure to your presentation, create an outline. Number two, keep it simple. uh, you don't have that in mind that, okay, today I am going there to impress someone. I am going to use so much fancy words that I don't know, but I think it looks cool online or face to face, and I'm going to do that and not care about my audience and just speak there because, oh my God, it's my day to show off. It's my day to, do that. Don't think about all of that, because that is actually going to be the other way around. It's not going to actually have an impact because people are not going to understand you. Okay, and when you're giving presentation, always remember that putting a little bit part of you, try to be try to add yourself within the presentation. Okay, when you share your personal experience, when you are guiding or leading someone and you're telling them about presentation, you're putting enough information on the slides, your posture. You need to understand, how are you leading it? So your leadership styles, I would say all of this actually comes in presentation. You're the dominant person when you are leading. You are the leader, because when we are the audience, we are listening to you because you matter. We want to know what you want to say. Influence. Your words will influence everyone through empowerment, right? You are actually empowering people. You are actually telling people how they are and how they're going to feel. Okay. Support. When you are presenting, you are also supporting your audience. Think about think about Obama. Everyone knows Obama, right? You guys know, right, how Obama actually won the presidency. He did not win because everything was so formal. I'm going to be a president. He created a campaign of hope, and when it came to the presentation skills, he made sure that he was showing his audience he was supportive. Now, what he did when he was a president, that's a whole different story. But the whole presentation skill, the campaign, and talking to each and every one as if he's talking to every individual matters. The language that he used was so compassionate and showed empathy that when you are speaking, you're not, we know that you are the leader, but when you are speaking, your voice needs to show compassion. Your voice needs to show care. Your voice needs to show some kind of friendliness. And now, I would say that for behind every presentation, friendship is important. Okay, so let me clear my throat. 1 second. So this is one thing with presentation. Okay, when you're having a conversation or communicating for a long time, sometimes you need to clear your throat. That is okay. So what I would suggest is, when you're presenting and you need to clear your throat, kindly say that, put yourself on mute, clear your throat, and come back. Do not go and make all these voices. Okay, so that would not be so presentful. Now, and be cautious. Always remember that when you are presenting, you need to keep your audience in picture, that we know, but no discrimination, no racial accusation, no curt remarks, or using foul language when you are speaking and presenting. That is just not the way to present. When you are presenting to people, you are presenting, like, just think of yourself as a global citizen, as a as a diverse person, that you're talking to everybody, and everybody's your friend. And when you're everyone's friend, you're not going to say something to hurt them because you feel that your perception, your belief system is better than someone else. So that should not be happening during presentation. Also, focus on the problem solving and the decision making. Do not go off topic and making sure that, okay, I will say this and I will say that. This is a picture of a demo on how PowerPoint slides can look like, and the language of the corporate industry. So usually you can see that there are watermarks here, okay, because this one is copyrighted, but the PowerPoints are everywhere. You will see the color, how the color scheme is. Usually you can have color, but not the whole slide cannot be so colorful, because eventually you're going to get disconnected and get so bored of it. Okay, so you can have some color like I have, and then you have a picture. Okay, now video presentation examples. If you are having a presentation that is not infographic, that is not PowerPoint, and today you decided that you want to present as a video, how you're supposed to do that? A lot of Zoom presentations are video based nowadays. You can pre-record yourself. Okay, pre-record yourself and have subtitles. You can have subtitles, so it's easy. Over here I have put the website where you can get the examples, and you can retrieve presentation styles that you can actually use, and it can actually create that, become more creative actually. So there's this popular and widely used website called Byteable, and a lot of people love them because they're visually appealing. You can just register for free and you can download it. If you're a person who is creating a vlog for your presentation, and usually we have that when we have advertising, or when you're doing market research or consumer behavior. So sometimes my students like to just create animation because they feel that it's kind of cool, and they want to use animated characters to present their ideas. You can go for it while they are going to be presenting. So this, if you can do this now, in the future when you work in companies, it'll be so easy for you to do this kind of stuff. Because in reality, nowadays, when you are working with organizations, you need to be doing all of this. You need to be creating sales report. You need to be creating presentations through Excel. How many of you are good with Excel? Right? Not so it Excel is something that I don't think everybody likes. Everyone will scratch their head. Excel, graphs, oh my God, calculation. But if you are going to be working in a business environment, you need to know how to use basic of Excel. You don't need to be a pro. Don't worry about that. But at least know how to do PDF. Remember, presentation is not only Google Slide, not only PPT. Presentation can be Excel, can be Canva, can be infographic, can be videos. So when we are using different kind of presentations, we need to understand how we're going to be reaching and connecting with our audience. These are some websites that show free PowerPoint templates. Feel free to use it. I will be sharing. I put it on the slide, so I'm sure it's going to help you. Okay, and later you can share with me like what you usually like to use, and what are your experiences in presentation, and what do you usually feel the most difficult part. Share your fears, talk about your fears. Okay, think about, you're sitting on this platform, you are on the limelight. When you're presenting, you are the limelight, you're the actor, you're the actress. Your delivery, your visual design, your content, everything matters. So when you are doing that, talk about your flaws. Remember, you have to with positivity, you have to also embrace your negativity. Think about as a total being, what are your fears? What are your flaws? Talk about your flaws, improve your flaws, and start accepting yourself that when you are presenting your work, this is how it's going to be. So, usually, when you're presenting, now, if you look at the GIF here, the GIF here, what is it? What do you understand by this? You killed that presentation. Do you really think the presentation was good, or the person is actually thinking the presentation was bad? We don't know because there's. It looks like the blood is dripping. It could be both ways, right? So always remember that when you're presenting, how you are actually creating your design elements. It's not like back then, like maybe 10 years ago. I remember there was a time maybe 15 years back, we used to use projectors, light projectors. So we never really did so much of PowerPoint. It was not mandatory to do it for every class, right? We have ebooks, we had books and more case studies and paper based. And what happens is that you're having this plastic, and you're actually writing on the form, and you're presenting it to the class live, especially when you're teaching, like teaching English or teaching graphical stuff. Later, we move on to project based. So you have case study based, you have papers when you're presenting. So presentation can also be online, offline. Okay, your body language matters. What language you're comfortable with matters. But at the same time, you need to speak in a language that your audience will understand. Now, today, if I was presenting, okay, let's say I was presenting in Hindi, okay, and presenting in Thai, right? None of you would be able to understand, and it will not catch your attention. However, using the language and using the appropriate words really matter, okay? Be assertive. Don't get scared of your audience, although your audience sometimes makes you feel like that. You might look at the audience and you'll see your boss, you'll see your teacher, you'll see the head, and you're like, oh my god, I'm feeling so nervous, what is she going to say? You know what, I remember when I was in school, okay, in high school, and we used to have presentation. You know what advice my teacher told me? Think about everybody's as fruits. I don't think about everybody has fruit heads. To be honest, that did not work on me, because that created even more stress. Imagine you're having presentation and you're imagining everybody like fruits, apples, bananas. How can you do that? So he was just trying to make it humorous. But then, how would you like to project your audience? Usually, have you ever felt that when you're talking to someone that you don't know, you can talk more, you can talk to a stranger better? But then when you are talking to someone of authority that you feel even more scared because of judgment. So a lot of people feel scared of presenting because of judgment. Now, who is judging who first? Are you judging yourself first, or are you scared that someone else will judge you? That is the question. If that is a problem and you're facing that, I would suggest you to talk to someone. Talk to someone on how you can actually increase your self confidence and start believing in yourself that whatever you're going to speak is going to be okay. But usually, for presentation, for your big presentation, rehearse before you speak. Okay? You need to rehearse, you need to practice. And to be a better public speaker, what can you do? You have this amazing quote when you're going to start an opening: eye to eye contact, your structure, your ideas, your voice, and body. All of this you know already. So just improving that. Improve in what you are actually weak, then adding more and more new things to your presentation, that eventually everything falls apart. Okay, so do things that you're good at. However, they always say that be the master of one and jack of all trades, or jack of all trades and a master of none. I put it the other way around. For me, I feel you can master so many things, because you don't have to master only one thing in your life. You can mastering and learning and keep improving what you're good at. Okay, now let's look at this. Okay, so in business, when you're presenting, you have a training assessment worksheet. Ask yourself, what are your skills when you're going to present? What is the knowledge that you have? The weakness or your skills gap in your presentation. What do you want to do? Now, this could be anything, okay? And specific training, this could be used for work as well. Now, think about the priority. How much do you prioritize improving yourself? How do you want to improve yourself? This could be your own self-reflective assessment, that how you want to improve and your deadline. Okay, time management is one of the key issues for public speaking and presentation. How many of you love to procrastinate, and how many of you love the adrenaline rush to keep everything in the last minute and then panic? So who is the one who does that to themselves? You understand? So when you keep something to very last minute, you are going to be so nervous because you did that to yourself. However, when you feel like you had so much of time, then maybe you can develop that habit. You can take baby steps on how you can train yourself and how you can actually give your time to that presentation and skills in speaking. Okay, so you can use this. You can print it, or the presentation. You can. I use this from Mind Tools. Mind Tools is really good, and I saw this that was really important. So I shared this. Also, think about your own roles and responsibilities. We use this for work, basically, and especially a lot of businesses, they use it for their teams. Okay, when you have corporate training, you can use it for your class. What I suggest you to do is, if you are a large size in your classroom, put them into 2, 3, or 4 groups, and each group have responsibilities. Help each other out. Learn to work as a team. Learn to empower each other. Okay, think about it. When you can learn to empower each other and improve each other, and do not take criticism negative. The one of the issues with presentation, and sometimes people find it very scary, and one of the issue is criticism, because you don't want to hear criticism. You don't want to hear that someone says you're terrible or you're bad. That's the reason why we chicken out and we don't want to present. We don't want to show. We just want to like escape it. But avoidance and escapism and chickening out and blaming someone else, or I'm not going to do this, you do this, giving the pile of work to somebody else and not taking accountability and responsibility, is not going to make you weaker. But trust me, in the future when you're going to work, it is going to be very difficult for you, because you cannot pile up work for your colleague. Can you do that? If you're working in a marketing team, advertising team, in a business team, can you put everything, can you just shove everything to somebody else? No, you can't. If you are the boss of your company, imagine you create this fantastic cosmetic, or no cruelty thing, or sustainable, or something amazing that you are going to do. As a business leader, as a dominant influencer, you need to understand that you cannot procrastinate. So these tips or these examples can actually help you for the future. Okay, now we have this. What is this? This is what I was telling you about sensory. Now, the way we learn nowadays, the learning style model, we need to understand that we have environment, emotions, sociological, physiological, and psychological aspects that are derived and comes in our presentation. Okay, so we will only look at a slide, but we don't understand environment. Now think about it. Wherever you're listening to me from, are you sitting comfortably? Or is your room too hot? Are you feeling hot? Are you feeling that, okay, the light is not good? Are you feeling hungry? It is like 4 o'clock there. Are you feeling hungry? You want coffee, you want tea? These things matter, because while you're listening to me, you might be thinking of the most yummiest food. So the thing is, it is okay to have coffee or a drink next to you. It's fine. Okay, and you need to make sure that the stimuli, the sensory elements of the presentation, your emotion really matters. If you are going to be task persistent or responsible, how are you going to be motivated? If I'm not motivated And if when I was asked to present or speak to all of you, if I felt that, oh, I can't do this, oh my God, I don't want to talk again. Now, if I'm going to be like that, how am I supposed to motivate you? How am I supposed to tell you? So we need to understand that we can never help other people unless we don't help ourselves. Okay. And sociological is understanding self, pair, peers, team, adult, variety. You are living in a diverse environment. Always remember that. Even as a leader in the future, when you're going to do business, you're not going to be doing business with one kind of person. You're going to have different demographics, different race, different religion, which doesn't have anything to do with business, because you are there as a, like I said, global citizen, global community. You're empowering and you're crossing cultures, you're bridging the gap. How is your physiological aspects going to matter? Your perception, your intake. I would suggest that when you are presenting and when you are working, more than presenting your work, being healthy is important. Being mindful is important. If you are going to be online, or if you're going to be face to face, and if you have not got enough rest, you are definitely going to be yawning. You're definitely going to feel sick. Your focus on what you're supposed to be doing is going to be a disconnect. Okay. And your psychological aspects. So think about, reflect, do not be impulsive. Okay. I hope you are not so bored. We are going to be done soon in a couple of slides. Okay, so presentation skills. Remember, all of you already know this. You have your structure, practice, body language, straight eye contact, and notes, handout. It is okay to have notes. Please don't take a book with you, like a thick book, and just read. The whole thing with presentation is some people just read there. They look down. And have you ever presented when you have a paper and you have a screen, right? And you're just covering yourself because you're so scared of the audience that you don't want to speak to the audience, and your face is hiding behind a paper or a book. A lot of people do that. Okay. And I'm not talking only about girls, boys do the same thing. So it's very important to say, to get that out. And remember, you have a beautiful face, your handsome face. We want to hear your voice. Speak, and your speech. Speak clearly, speak concisely, confident. Don't speak too fast. There's no need to ramble, because no one is going to understand you. And don't use slangs, no foul language, unless the audience that you're speaking to is very casual, especially if you're talking to children. Then you got to be a little informal. It's different. Okay. PowerPoint, interaction. If you're nervous, um, okay, take a deep breath, pause, speak slowly, take your time. Okay. If you're nervous, some people will just, on one hand, they have a note card they're presenting. On another hand, there could be in the pocket, or they're just putting a fist and being quite calm. Okay. But if you're nervous, there's no need to dance. A lot of people love dancing while presenting. Do you guys do that? When you're presenting, you're just like, and sometimes my student is right here, and then by the end of the presentation, he or she's already in the other corner, and everyone, and it just makes it quite humorous. We just laugh about it because we don't want to make someone feel, have the discomfort. Okay. Now the thing is, walk around. You can also walk around in your presentation, depending. When you are presenting your work, self acceptance in a specific stage in self discovery is very important. Value yourself. Think about how you're going to improve yourself. What are the 3 things you like about yourself when you are presenting? When you have your ideas, what is it that you love, what you like to do? You are doing a public speaking class with your lecturer, Iwan, right? Now, why are you doing the course? Are you forced to do the course? Did you choose it?
It's a compulsory subject.
It's a compulsory subject, so everyone is doomed. Okay, but think about it. This compulsory subject is a lifesaver, because think about all your life. Now you are going to be speaking. Your voice is so important. So you need to value your voice. You need to value your ideas. You need to value your knowledge. This kind of course actually prepares you not only for a classroom, but prepares you for the future. For all who knows, one day we're watching a TV, we're on TV. I mean, and we just hear that, oh my God, Fahira is going to be in politics. Fahira is going to enter the health industry or anything, or let's say Advandia, if I pronounce that correct. Okay, is it Advandia? Okay, what if this person wants to go to, starts getting into hospitality, and you never know where your journey is going to take you. So you need to be prepared. Okay, so if you find presentation scary now, think about where your journey is going to take you. This is a tool that everyone needs to know. What are your strengths? What activities can make you better and a stronger person? Think about that. Think of how you're going to empower yourself. Don't look at all the negative stuff and look at yourself and find flaws all the time. You also have strengths. Look at your strengths. Look at how far you came. So Fahira, like today, when you in the beginning, when you are introducing everybody, this is also called leadership skills. These are also called presentation skills. I'm sure you were a bit nervous. I'm sure that you have another tab open while you are reading to prepare yourself. That is also fine because you need to get things right. Yeah. So that's really good. Congratulations. So these kind of practices are important. Now, we'll move to the public speaking tips and then we're going to be done soon. I sense fear in you. Okay. Now, when it comes to public speaking, it's not easy. I remember maybe like many years ago when I came to my class and I saw all these students. They're from Germany, Russia, French. I have a lot of French students, and different backgrounds. And to be honest, I'm petite. Okay, let's talk about that. I'm petite, and many of my students are so tall. Okay, and you will see a lot of students sometimes that they fear of speaking because of how they look. But think about it, it's not how you look, it's how you say it and how you speak. So it's quite interesting. I've had students who are like 7 foot, so if they stand in front of me, they're like Eiffel Tower, but it doesn't stop me from teaching. But we have so much fun. Okay, so always remember that when you're speaking, don't let how you look affect you, but think about how you can dress up, how you can actually carry yourself and be confident and go for it. Also, when it comes to public speaking, as mentioned earlier, so this is going to be more like a review. No matter how serious or celebratory the occasion, most people experience some kind of public speaking jitters. So even if you have to speak for your event or celebration, sometimes people feel. So when you're writing a speech for public speaking, you can write a speech, create an outline for it, and if you're speaking for 2-3 minutes, write what you want to say in the beginning, have jot down the clues, the middle, and the ending, so that people, you would know what you're going to be speaking about. Okay, and how you're going to be reviewing your work. Otherwise, if you have everything put down on paper and you're just going to be reading, that would not be a good idea. So try not to write. You can write everything, but try not to focus only on reading. Okay. Now practice, 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 practice. All is very important. How many of you have actually practiced in front of the mirror, your room mirror, or the bathroom mirror, or you're practicing just taking the paper and you're in your home, you're in the garden, and you're just practicing? How many of you have actually used your phone to record your voice? Because when we are speaking, one thing about speaking is that a lot of people will say, they will pause a lot. They will say, uh-huh, um, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Yeah. How many of you do that? We do a lot of that, right? A lot of ums. And if you make a mistake, I don't know you made a mistake. Let's pretend that. Audience doesn't realize it unless you panic and you're like, oh shit, I made a mistake. And a lot of people say, oh shit, in while speaking so many times. If you're talking professionally, try not to use that. Maybe instead of oh shit, you can use another word that is your calming word. Okay. But unless you are with your friends and you're having an informal presentation, that's a different thing. So, how you deliver your message, record yourself. You know, we have a lot of my camera stand is there, but the thing is that nowadays you can actually you can use your phone. You have a camera stand. If you feel that you're nervous on how you're going to look like, record or go on Zoom by yourself, record yourself, see how you're going to look like. Okay. And do that and review, see your pace, time yourself. So these kind of stuff, these kind of tips can actually help. And remember, present yourself confidently. And you don't have to be so controlling on how you are dressing up. Dress up comfortably, decent, look good, and try not to be sloppy. Try not to dress up as if you're going to the beach, okay, when you have a very professional presentation. And this might actually help you, feel more confident. Also, remember that when you are speaking to the audience, impression matters, right? So today, when you leave, I would like to give you something through connection, through speaking, through sharing. What would be your takeaway? Now, I see that we have about 64 participants. Each participant is going to take away something so different. Many of you are going to take more than one thing, but I would like to make sure that it's impactful. It shows that you are not here online today because you have to be online for a guest lecturer, but you are actually learning something. You're actually feeling like, oh, I understand her. She gets me. She understands me. The mistakes I make is okay. I'll be better at them. Okay. So reinforcing, making a connection, reflecting, is important. Don't be scared. You don't want to be the mouse eating up the. I mean, of course, if you try eating the microphone, maybe you can start singing, but it doesn't really work like that sometimes, right? Or just be comfortable with the microphone and start practicing. Do you feel that what is your best way of speaking? With microphone, without microphone? How's your voice? How's your pitch? Think about that. Focus on your message, not on yourself. We focus so much on how we look sometimes that we forget what we're speaking is making sense or not. Okay. Now, when you are speaking, try not to apologize every moment if you're making a mistake. You don't need to do that. Okay. Remember, go back to interaction. Whatever you're speaking, how you're speaking, your audience, everything matters. What kind of messages you are going to be saying, how are you going to, what the feedback matters. Be open to feedback, sit and talk to people, and come back to public speaking. Think about it that these are all your leadership style. What are you actually being? You are having a transaction, you're having an exchange of dialogue, but at the same time, you're creating a vision for people. You're showing this progressive society we live in, the dynamics of business and e-commerce, and how life can be so inspirational and empowering that we need to understand the fundamentals of storytelling, that these kind of tips are going to help people for generations. Okay. And when people watch this video or watch this presentation, um, they will know that how you're keeping that face, how you're going to be making sure that everyone is feeling motivational, and you're kind of transforming society. In the past, a lot of people were not very comfortable with speaking. Yes, but today it's not like that. Today you're forced to speak. You have internet, and then you have to come down to ask yourself that what are you? Are you going to be you don't you have if you're going to be the boss, if you're going to be working for someone, your leadership skills in presenting and public speaking should not only be about profit, 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 but how to manage crisis management in presentation and crisis management in problem solving is very, very important. A lot of people out there, when they go for training, they are not learned how to be a mindful leader. So mindfulness leadership speaking, relationship, and being a facilitator and inspiring people is important. You're not here only for profit, to make money. You're also here to find a solution. When there is a problem, don't freak out. Take the problem as a project. Find a solution. If plan A doesn't work, do plan B. That is one of the tips for public speaking. If the microphone didn't work, or sometimes the microphone is very squeaky, or the background didn't work, um, it's okay. Always have plan B, you know? And of course, if you are having a phone or you're using iPad, if you can't use Skype or Zoom in your laptop, see if you can have another way of doing it, unless the internet is down and something is going on. So always reduce pressure, reduce observe misconduct, and do not point at people when you're speaking. Okay. Usually, sometimes the teachers do it with the students. Hey, you come here, So we do that. But then if we have to do public speaking, like professionally outside, I wouldn't go to my audience and go to let's say the ambassador, or the foreign minister, and say, hey, you come here. This is how the e-commerce or leadership for public speaking or any kind of business framework should be for nowadays. You need to have your own drive, public acceptance, and use technological advances. Please make sure that you are um, be open to learning. Think about how learning is so important, that you are learning about new softwares. You have online resources, mobile phone applications, and don't forget mindfulness. A lot of people put mindfulness aside, but mindfulness is not religion, it's not race, it has nothing to do that. Mindfulness just shows that you are being able to control your fear. You are rising above the situation. You are able to be a better leader that has compassion, and you understand your audience. So as a consumer, so if you are also a consumer, you are also the leader. So you nowadays, you should know that everyone is tech savvy, yes, just like you. And everyone is a modern, pretends to be a modern Buddha. But Buddha doesn't mean here that everyone is meditating. It doesn't matter where you come from, but you are wise. You know what you're doing. Your wisdom is and your learning from your experience makes you who you are. And e-mindfulness. So that's why when you're presenting, you got to be mindful of what you're saying. No discrimination. Um, no perception and belief systems improve that, or someone is doing that and you feel offended, then see if you can talk to that person. And if someone is doing that, maybe you can guide them, and how you can be mindful organizing things and your experience. Now this here is just giving an example of how change perspective on tourism experience, because in tourism what we see is that it's a global platform. I'm not so sure how many of you have actually visited Bangkok before. Okay, if you ever come, feel free to message me. It'd be lovely to see you. So if you are traveling to another country, you are respecting other people's cultures, but at the same time, when you're presenting about your country to somebody else, I have to be open and respectful of you, and you have to be open and respectful of me. That's also one way of public speaking. Pay attention, live in the present, go back to your goal and focus on what you're presenting, and don't judge. Okay? So we have Zoom, Skype, Instagram. My students message me on Instagram. Some of them follow me, so they like to message me on Instagram. This is the world we live in, right? I never thought that I have to actually be accessible to all of that. So we are speaking and we are delivering information through line as well. Sometimes if one thing doesn't work, then we will just skip to line. Skype, Zoom, as we are doing right now, and Cisco WebEx. WebEx is pretty good, and is also very simple. Zoom is also very nice. I like Zoom. Okay, so this is just significant events of mindfulness from the past up to now. But if you look at it today, we're looking at it as a mainstream as a mindful cognitive therapy, but we're not looking at therapy in terms of psychology. We're looking at when you are speaking, your cognitive behavior on what you're thinking, your sensory, your physiological aspects matters because you are going to be presenting and speaking to me about something. So if you're healthy and you know what you're going to be speaking about and you're creative or you're pitching an idea, you need to be in the right frame of mind. Okay. And of course, have a good mood. So this is our summary. Always remember that before your presentation, arrive early. If you're online, then it's always good to come online a few minutes earlier and say hi to everyone in case something went on wrong with the voice. You can always come back. Know your biggest point, one of your key message you want your audience to receive and retain, and the best points conveying a why or how as opposed to a what. Instead of telling people what to do, show them the path. When we are writing stories, sometimes we cannot be too descriptive, right? So as a poet and a writer, sometimes we cannot just tell people, we want to show people, and this is very important that we could do through connections and support. Memorizing your start and concluding your sentences, remembering that is okay, but you don't have to memorize anything else or everything. It's not easy. So if you think that you have to memorize everything, oh my god, this is so hard, you don't have to do all of that. You don't have to pressure yourself in that way. Okay. This is what this is the literary event that I was there yesterday. That's the reason why I had to update my PowerPoint, because I thought that this would be very nice that I would share with you. So this is the celebration of Thai Canadian cultural event, where the Embassy of Canada and Thailand, for example, the Writers Association of Thailand celebrated 60 years, where they came up with an anthology, English and Thai. So I was a moderator for that event, where I had to, of course, ask some questions in Thai, and we had to do some translation. And it was very interesting. So yesterday, Iwan, when you messaged me, I was here. So at this point of time,
You're there with Gay, Gasani,
yes,
Gasani Taisonti, our friend.
yes. So she's there. She's also one of the translators in the thing from the anthology. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is not because, oh my God, I did this. It's a journey of how we reach to this kind of place, right? And at the same time, when you are doing public speaking and you know that the Canadian ambassador is there, everybody else is there, you have an audience. If you ask me, was I a little nervous? I was a little bit, because when I had to ask questions in Thai, um, I have to think of the words very quickly. Okay. And I must tell you that all of these people, they are lecturers of universities, and they are very popular translators. Each of these dignitaries, what they did was they all spoke Thai. They spoke Thai for 10 minutes, 7 minutes, so passionate about what they're talking. I have to listen to everything and translate in English and brief it up. So sometimes public speaking is a test. It's not very easy, but you need to have that confidence. You need to be able to say, I can do this. I didn't chicken out, so you shouldn't too. So in the future, when you have some kind of opportunity, go for it. You never know that you might come out knowing that what you might discover so many strengths of you that you never thought that this is something you could do. Okay, so I'm sure you could do that. And thank you for listening to us, me, my voice, and the minions. Okay, so do you have any questions? We're done for today. And if not me, if not now, when? Emma Watson. Okay, and the truth a speaker tells is not just present in their words or the content of their speech. So don't lie, okay? You might become Pinocchio. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Bhavna, for sharing with us public
say.
speaking tips and how to deliver an effective presentation. You mentioned in one of your tips is that we have to embrace our negativity and our fears. And we actually have a question from one of our lecturers in
Yeah.
STB Alia. Let me read it to you. You talked about the fear that we often feel when talking in public. One of my fear is that students staring at me with this look, and I'm quite puzzled what they are thinking about. And then this feeling of getting intimidated comes up. What should I do when this happens? So, Ms. Bhavna, have you ever felt intimidated as a lecturer or yourself?
Good question. I love that question. Yeah, students always sometimes they they want to show you that they're better than you. Sometimes. Okay, I wouldn't say intimidated, but I might say that sometimes I would feel like uh, I would feel the pressure. I would feel stressful, right? And if they are coming from a diverse culture and if they're saying something that I'm not aware of, so this is what happens with awareness. Um, if I do not know something and if my student is saying something that I do not know, I would say, I would actually admit to saying that, what are you talking about? I don't know about this. This seems interesting. What are you talking about? Oh, maybe we can all learn from this. Tell me about it. Rather than saying, how dare you make me feel like that? You get what I'm trying to say? Um, Sometimes we feel that as teachers, we also feel that, okay, we should show we are better than we know everything. But the truth is, nobody knows everything. We may know better, but we don't know everything. Just like you, just like where everyone is learning sometimes. So when it comes to that kind of fear of intimidating, um it's okay, it's so natural. But you know what, if you feel that there's something that you need to learn about, like that's our fear, that I don't know about this, and oh, I feel intimidated. Usually we feel intimidated because we don't know. Okay, and if we don't know how to use a software, or we're making mistakes, or the student gets it faster, but I can't get it faster, or I don't understand, I will actually come in par with the same level with my students and tell them, guys, I'm having some trouble. Could you help me out? I'll really appreciate it. And that kind of stuff. We need to understand that students also need to know that we are in a classroom where you have so much of learning to do, but you have boundaries. You should never overstep your boundaries with the educator. But at the same time, how can you bridge the gap between yourself and the educator, where your educator can also learn from you, rather than making the educator feel complex or feel like the sudden rush? You understand? So it also depends on the environment of the classroom. Sometimes it can be difficult. I have gone through that. It's quite funny. So I just laugh about it and I'm like, dude, okay. Then I would tell my students, okay, I'll see your grades, let's talk about the grades later. And they all start laughing, okay? Because we play it that way. But yes, it's okay to feel intimidated. And yes, we do have that kind of fear.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bhavna. And there's also another question from Kaana Sungkar. Ms. Bhavna, being a Reiki master, I'm wondering how the therapist can channel energy and healing process into the patient. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Reiki was established and derived from Japan. Should I just? I think can I? Should I just stop sharing the screen? I think I can do that.
Yeah, sure.
Right? 1 second. It'll be easier. I can see the questions. Okay, so as a Reiki master, we can channel energies, and the thing is that because I meditate as well, and I've been doing this for so many years now, it's very easy to sometimes pick up stuff that you're not supposed to be picking up emotionally. Okay, so when it comes to channeling energy and understanding, this whole thing has taught me how to be compassionate. That we need to understand where the students are coming from. Okay. And also understanding that as a human being, we have chakras. Okay. So we have our crown, our third eye, our throat. Our throat really is really important because when we are speaking, we are clearing our throat chakra. Okay. So I do have counseling online. I do have distance healing online. We do have sometimes I have my clients from anywhere, students, they want to talk about stuff, you know, you listen to them. And when it comes to do Reiki, Reiki is a way to clear blockages. It becomes more aware of finding out what is blocking you and where are the blockages. And sometimes you can actually come to the root cause of the problem, whether it's a childhood issue, whether it's a problem with your some experience or many experiences that you had in your life that you has created trauma in your system and makes it the way you are, or sometimes you're not your ambience, your environment, that makes it the way you are behaving in a certain way. But we need to understand how we are supposed to break those patterns in life. Have you ever felt that sometimes you're doing the same thing and you don't want this kind of pattern anymore? You can break that pattern. Sometimes the things that people tell you that what you're supposed to be doing, how you're supposed to be doing, the conditioning, the programming, yes, you can change it. Yes, you can unlearn it and you can recreate your a new pattern for yourself so that you're healthy, your family is healthy. If you're married, you have kids, then you can actually have conscious parenting. You become more open-minded, you have more help. That's the reason why you have so many young people nowadays. They're so stressful and they feel judged very quickly, or depression, suicide rate. You understand, tolerance, and because they don't want to talk about something and they feel that. And also trust really matters, like who you want to talk to and you can trust that person or not. Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bapak Hira.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bhavna. And we also have another question. Ms. Bhavna, you said that most of us today are feeling judged. And there's actually a question from one of our lecturers, Ma'am Nanang. There's a syndrome that's quite popular today, the issue on imposter syndrome. What kind of advice would be best to overcome it, do you think?
Firstly, I would like to understand the imposter syndrome, right? Because there's so many layers to it. And when we feel that we are switching, we kind of like sometimes also develop different personalities in one time because we're trying to please someone else. I would say that when you have that, or when someone feels that this is kind of developing and growing, it's so important to talk to a counselor and talk to a professional therapist, you know, about this. I don't know if your school or your university, do you have counseling? Do you have student counseling? Do you have these things? No? Okay. So what happens is that you need to talk to someone if you are going through something. And why does one person feel imposter syndrome? Do you know what imposter syndrome is, Bahira? Can you give me an example if you've ever felt something? Or maybe you have not felt it, but you have felt someone else has felt it. I can you'll have to unmute your thing.
I've never felt it, but I've heard about the imposter syndrome. I think it's when you feel like you don't deserve something, like
Yeah, okay, and
mm,
yeah, please
mhm.
go on. No, please go on. I'll listen to you.
uh, that's all I really know actually about the imposter syndrome. That you feel like you're given something that you don't really deserve, and so you feel insecure.
Okay, so in during the presentation, I mentioned about acceptance. I mentioned about we have this fear, and a lot of things come from insecurities, right? Now the question here is, who makes us feel insecure? Who makes us feel that we are not good enough and we don't deserve it? Did someone tell this to us when we were a child? Did our parents tell us? Did society tell us? Is it the expectation around us with the university, or expectation of life, that this is where you're supposed to be, and if you have not received that, or you have not reached that particular part at a so and so given time, you're not good enough? Or you have created an assessment, um what was that be, your own image. You have your mind assessing things on how you're supposed to look, how you're supposed to speak, how you're supposed to be doing things. Oh, she's better, he's better, that's better. Comparing, because we are always comparing and very competitive, not only with others but ourselves. Slowly and gradually, you are going to be developing the imposter syndrome. So when it becomes quite deep about this, it can also create panic attacks. It can also create anxiety, because when you are speaking, you're so scared. But the truth is, you're scared of what? What happened? So that's why we need to come back to the root cause. We need to talk to people, that why do they feel that? Who told them that? When did they develop that in their mind, that they're not good enough? Sometimes, societies or people. The thing is, I'll be very honest. A lot of parents, they always sometimes tell their children they're not good enough. Okay, and while you're growing up, even when you're adults, um, in the education setting, if you don't get A's or B's, you feel you're not good enough. And we're living in a very competitive world, where finding the right kind of job and opportunities is not easy. So you have, sometimes you're being discriminated because you are good, but someone else got the job, and you felt that why did that person get the job? So these things always happen. So competitiveness, insecurities, discrimination, being told you're not good enough, can slowly develop all of these aspects. So it's very important to have a conscious and mindful, ambience. But it's not easy, because sometimes you have people who are very old school, and very rigid with their perception. And when perception is so strong, it can actually create very deep issues with that person and people around them as well.
Thank you,
Okay.
Miss Bhavna.
My suggestion is that if you don't have it, and if you guys ever want to talk to somebody and you want to have a session, you're feel free to just contact. I'm more than happy to hear your problem. I'll listen to you, and we'll try to solve it. We'll try to do we'll do NLP, we'll do neuro linguistic programming, and we'll try to reprogram your mindset on how you're supposed to be doing things. And if you need healing work, then I can see what I can do to help.
Thank you, Miss Bhavna. I think the last question for myself, if you don't mind.
Sure, please go. Yeah, we have time. We have like 10-15 minutes. I will have a next class at 5. So I told my student, you wait. Okay, never mind. Yeah,
Okay.
tell me, please. Yeah, please go ahead.
Last question. So you mentioned panic attacks. I want to ask, how do people deal with a bad experience of presentation? Perhaps maybe they have had presentations and they had panic attacks, or maybe they have jumbled words, and it's like a trauma for them. Like they don't want to present anymore because of that bad experience. So how do you think people should deal with that to overcome that?
You can do breathing exercises. You can do breathing exercises, not during the presentation, okay? But put that as your lifestyle. Do mindfulness breathing exercises, so that you are able to control your breath, because during anxiety and panic attacks, your heart rate will increase, you start becoming sweaty. Okay, so you can do that. And you really need to talk to somebody, that why is it that when you are speaking something, you tremble, and something is happening to you that you're so scared. It could also be one of the issues happens is that not being heard. Sometimes when you're at home and with your friends, or even with friends or with families, there are a lot of times that parents don't take so much time to listen to the kids or listen to adults. They don't really have so much of conversations, adult, healthy, friendly conversations, that you feel that when you're saying something, no one is listening to you. So when you have to present something, subconsciously your mind is already telling you that no one is listening to you. You panic, you feel alone. But this is all subconscious issues. Okay? I think Fahira has internet issue. No. I hope she heard. This is recorded so she can,
Oh yeah, yeah. You got freeze, yeah.
Yeah.
Connection. Okay, Fahira, everything okay there? Oh. Okay, guys. Since Fahira probably got connection problem, then I guess Fahira's question will be the last one, yeah, considering the time, and Miss Bhavna Khemlani will also have another class at 5, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Yes.
Very insightful, yeah, very important materials that we have already got from Miss Bhavna Khemlani. Again, we express our gratitude, yeah, to what you have just shared.
Thank you,
Of course,
Anna.
probably there are a lot of questions, but then considering the time, I guess it's time for us to say thank you, guys, to Miss Bhavna Khemlani. Say it, yeah. Unmute your
Thank you,
mic.
Miss
Thank
Bhavna.
Thank
you
you
very
so
much,
much.
Miss.
Thank you so
Much.
much.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank
the
you.
last,
Thank you.
the last point will
Thank you.
be
Thank you.
taking photo together, yeah. Lafi, the
Okay.
captain of the class, are you here with us, Lafi?
Is there?
Lafi, are you here with us? Lafi Husna? Oh, okay. Probably Advandia, can you lead us for the taking photos for every screen?
Lavi is here. Boom.
Oh, Lafi is here.
Okay, Bung.
Ya, Lafi bisa dipimpin untuk foto taking. Oh, we also have a student from Tajikistan, ya, Miss
From
Feruza
where?
from Tajikistan. Feruza
Wow.
Odilova, my international student in Pertamina University. Hi, Feruza.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Hi.
Wow.
Oh.
Ya, silakan Lafi.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Lafi.
Okay, everyone, please turn on your camera. We are going to take photo on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
You want to take one more?
Yes.
Please.
How many screen are there?
There are 3, Bung.
3, okay.
Okay. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. The last one. Already, the 3 of them. You have already got the 3 of them.
Last one, Bung.
Last one, okay, last one.
Okay.
Okay. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, finish.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. I
Thank
would
you
like
so
to
much.
say that, if you guys have more questions, and because of the time constraint, I can't answer all your questions. Iwan, please, you guys have my email.
Yes.
So, feel free to write to me. I don't mind. And just just have some patience. I will definitely reply to you. And you want to ask me anything, if you want to schedule some online thing for me to talk to you and answer your questions, I'll be more than happy to do so. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much, And guys, I guess we can close this meeting, yeah. And then try to apply, yeah, the things that Miss Bhavna Khemlani has already shared with us. Thank you very much.
Thank
Goodbye
you.
and have a
Thank
good time.
you.
Stay safe,
Thank
stay
you, Iqbal. Thank
happy. We
you.
hope
Bye.
that we can meet
Thank
again
you,
after the
Kuliah. Thank
pandemic.